Hey gang, Randy here from Break and Run Billiards. This video, number 3 in our course, we are going to talk about finding your stance and reinforcing your natural stroke. I mentioned this before. Not a lot of people talk about this. When you go and see an instructor or you're watching videos online about the stroke, quite often they'll tell you where to put your feet and how to hold the stick and what you're going to do. Well, here's the problem. Everybody's body is different. There are people that are bow-legged. There's people that are pigeon-toed. There are people whose shoulders naturally sit back further and their hands basically sit out away from their body. There's people that are heavy. There are people that are tall. There's people short. Women have different problems than men. It's just everybody is different. So to say that there is one way to stand when you come up to the pool table is ludicrous. It'll get you close to where you want to be, but we want to dial this in. We want this stroke to be so natural. You get up there, you fall into this natural stance, and your arm is just automatically going to move in the direction we want it to. So that's what we're going to talk about. Now, Rocky the Rocket Morris, pro pool player, been in the Mosconi Cup. His instructor, the first thing he had him do, and this is a pro instructor that teaches the pros, he has him stand, his feet shoulder length apart, put this cue in his hand and find the balance point and just relax. Don't think about anything, just kind of relax and just let this cue go wherever it wants to go. So it may go here, it may go out this way, but we don't want to force it. This has to be natural. So I'm looking at this and I'm 45, 50 degrees. I'm pretty close to the standard. Well, if we take this so that our stick is actually pointing down, this is where our feet should be when we get ready to shoot the ball. This is the angle we want. Now, you might want to mark this, pieces of tape on the floor or something, just so when you get ready to do this, you kind of know what the angle is you're looking at. But we want this angle so that when we get over the ball, this angle we found is our natural stroke, the way it naturally wants to go. If we set this forward foot up too far, we're going to want to move out. Or if we put it back too far, we're going to want to do this. We aren't going to hit the cue ball where we're aiming. So we want to find this. This is the first thing we need to do. Now second, when we get ready to get down on the ball, when we aim, and I'm aiming at this diamond on the far side, if I set this stick on the table, I've created a line right from here all the way through that cue ball and all the way to my aim point on the other side. I'm going to put my chin right over this. Jerry Bryseth refers to this as chin lock. So there's my aiming line right there. The next thing I do is I step into that, and I put, since I'm right-handed, I put my right foot underneath my hand, and then I step into that angle that we've already figured out. The reason my foot is under my hand is what that does is my foot, my hand, my arm, my shoulder are all going to be on the line. My head is going to be on the shot line. So I have lined up my whole body for this shot. now we have our aim. We have a hold of the cue, and I should say, this is what I teach people. I say everybody's a little bit different. If you're taller, you might have a little bit bigger spread of these legs. Well, that's fine, but this foot, even though it won't be in a direct line with your shoulder and your hand on the stick, it'll still be on the line of our cue, and that's what we want. We don't want that back foot to be off that line. So here we are. I've got this stick, and we'll talk about where to put the grip later, but we've got our foot under our hand, and then we bend over this stick. Now, one of the things we're doing is we're keeping our chin over the stick, but by bending this way over the stick, we aren't moving the arm, we aren't moving the shoulder, everything stays in line. And then I'm just looking with my chin over the stick. I am just looking there, and my bridge hand is going to fall exactly where I want it. So I am like this, and I've got 6 to 8 inches of space between the stick and my body. And I can come through, and when I hit this, I'm going to have this nice straight stroke right through the ball. There are people that will come down, and the first thing they'll do is they'll twist their body and they'll come down over like this. Now, that might work for people if they work on it, but the problem when you shift in your hips and move it this way, you're changing your balance, number one, but also you're now bringing your body closer to the stick. I have seen this problem where somebody's wearing a loose sweater or a sweatshirt or something, and their hand gets caught in the pocket. If you're bending over this way and you're getting that clearance, if that is zipped up or fitting a little bit tighter to your body, that'll never happen. You won't have that problem with your clothing. If you're a little heavier and you might have a little punch, if you're turning this way, you're going to be fighting your stomach as you're doing this. You bend over the stick, and that keeps this motion going straight. So that is pretty much the stance. We aim from here, we step into our stance, or where our feet go, we bend over the cue, bring our bridge hand up to where that is, and we are in line. My foot is on the line, my hand is on the shooting line, my elbow is directly above my hand, my shoulder is over the cue, which is on the line, and my chin is over the line. My whole body is aligned. Now there are people, particularly taller people, that's a long ways to bend, and they will bend their knees like this. I personally don't like that, but I understand that that's the way people have to be comfortable. If you're 6'6" and you're going to bend all the way over, your waist is 6 inches above that, so you're going to be sloped down when you hit. So I can understand it. The problem here is that when you bend your knees, you've got a muscle that pushes it up and then a different muscle that contracts it in the other way. When we bend our knees and get to one spot, those two muscles are acting in balance. They are setting you up there. But muscles do this funny thing. When one wants to push one direction, the other one wants to push the other direction. And right at that point where you're trying to stay still, they are actually fighting each other. And so you get this little tremor or maybe a little bit of a shake that goes on. And we don't want that. That actually can throw your stroke off. If you're moving just say 1/4 of an inch, and your legs are kind of twitching a little bit, that could mean you're off by 1/4 inch on the cue ball. And that's putting a tip of English, and we might not want that. So by keeping your legs straight and solid and bending over the stick, we're eliminating that variable. The whole trick to consistency is to take out as many variables as you can, and then all you have left are just real easy shots that you can't make a mistake on. So that's the first part. That's the stance. So let's review briefly. We find out where our natural stroke is. We find out how to set up on the table using the angle we discovered. We bend over the stick and we stroke through the ball. Our back foot is on the line, our hand is on the line, our shoulder's on the line, our chin is on the line. That's our stance. That's going to make a huge difference. Once you practice that and get used to doing that, your accuracy is going to go through the roof. So that's stance. Thank you very much for watching, and next video we are going to talk about the bridge